So hey everybody, I hope you've had a beautiful, gorgeous day, brilliant day. It's evening here when I'm recording this. This is an introduction into the third part of my Fort Ticonderoga videos. This is Mount Defiance. And I have to explain, do a brief explanation here. I did originally take photos and video of going up Mount Defiance, and video from the top, and then video going back down again. Unfortunately, like everything else that I lost about Fort Ticonderoga originally, I lost that video. I did manage to save the photographs though, so this is mostly just going to be, it's all photographs, but you will get an idea of what it's like. I will read there's two plaques up there in the observation deck, and I will read those for you. So the procedure is, when you visit Fort Ticonderoga, they give you a gold token, and that gold token is what you use to go up the mountain. That's your admission to the mountain. You can also buy you can buy a separate ticket at the gatehouse before you go up. I think it's $10. So anyway, what you do is you take this gold token and you drive. It's maybe a couple miles from the actual fort, and you get there and there's a gatehouse, and you slip that token in the box, and the arm goes up, and that gives you access to drive up the mountain. It's about 1.5 miles, give or take a little bit. The road is a little interesting. It's very narrow. It is a two-way road, so you do have to be careful, because when you're going up, people are probably coming down. It's not in the best of shape. It's curvy, and it's there's a couple of steep places that are a couple of steep sections. It's nothing you can't handle, but it is just be forewarned, it's not in the best of shape. And so you'll drive up, and there's a nice parking spot there, nice big parking spot there, and then you just walk the few hundred yards up to the top of the mountain, and it's absolutely gorgeous. From the top you can see a good part of Lake Champlain, Fort Ticonderoga, the shoreline of Vermont and New York. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can do a picnic up there. There's picnic tables, there's a garbage can, there are no bathrooms, and you can spend time up there. I think it's open between 9:30 to I think about 4:30. The actors at the fort do a thing at the end of the day, and they will all go up to the top of Mount Defiance, and they do this reenactment thing at the top of the mountain. But it's absolutely gorgeous. The cannons, it's absolutely gorgeous. And then you have to come back down that hill, so just be forewarned with what I said about the road going down. It is a little interesting. But anyway, so what I wanted to do was introduce this and let you know that there isn't really video, it's all photographs, but you will get a brilliant idea of what it's like up there. And I hope you enjoy it. I may go back next year and do the actual video going up and then coming back down, because it's like a minor roller coaster in places. As you're coming back down, there is a place just below the parking lot. There's on a turn, on a curve, there's a place, very, very small parking area with a couple of other cannons, And you might see an artist there. When I was there, I saw a painter there, and he was painting the valley. So it's like I said, it's this. I hope you enjoy this. One word of caution: they do not allow RVs, trailers. You can get up it in a car. You can do a van. It is accessible by van, but RVs and trailers are they're just not. You can't do it. You just can't do it. So I hope you enjoy this, and this will mark the end of my Fort Ticonderoga adventure. But stay tuned. I've got some more. If you do like these history videos, they are a labor of love for me. I love doing them. History's my thing. And I have a whole playlist of historical places and people, and I'm building it. It's coming, and you will find this video and these videos in those historical in that historical playlist. It's also in the New York playlist as well. It's probably in like maybe 3 of my playlists, maybe 4. So, like I said, enjoy. I appreciate everybody watching these videos. Again, they're a labor of love. So, thank you. This one's a shorty. Mount Defiance, at 853 feet above sea level, rises 758 feet over the waters of Lake Champlain. The waters of Lake George tumble 220 feet down 5 waterfalls into Lake Champlain just below the base of Mount Defiance. The promontory has gone by many names. The French army that arrived and began building Fort Carillon in 1775 knew it as Rattlesnake Mountain. The British referred to it as Sugarloaf Hill for its resemblance to the cones of sugar sold during the 18th century. Britain's German auxiliaries translated this into German and called Mount Defiance Der Zuckerhut. American forces occupied the Ticonderoga area beginning with the May 10, 1775 capture of Fort Ticonderoga. In 1776, after the 13 American colonies declared their independence from Great Britain, the American Army referred to this position as Mount Defiance. Mount Defiance overlooks Lake Champlain, which separates New York and Vermont. Fort Ticonderoga is visible to your left on the New York shore. Lake George is just hidden by the ridge to the west of Mount Defiance, and the Adirondack Mountains extend to the west. Directly across the lake on the Vermont shore is Mount Independence. Beginning in 1776, the American Army cleared this wooded peninsula to construct an extensive network of fortifications during the American Revolution. Over the winter of 1776 into 1777, a floating bridge connected Fort Ticonderoga and Mount Independence across the narrows of the lake below. The jagged outline of Vermont's Green Mountains is visible to the east. On a clear day, the summits of many of Vermont's highest peaks, including Mount Ellen, Camel's Hump, and even Mount Mansfield, over 50 miles away, can be seen. In 1758, British officers and engineers examined Ticonderoga's defenses from low on Mount Defiance prior to the July 8th Battle of Carillon. During the battle, Mohawk, Delaware, and Choctaw warriors allied to the British Army positioned themselves on the Mount's lower slopes. They were positioned to fire at the right flank of the French lines across the Lachute River, although they were largely out of range. During the American Revolution, Mount Defiance received renewed scrutiny for its important location. Although it had not been fortified by the summer of 1776, Deputy Adjutant General John Trumbull felt that Ticonderoga might be vulnerable to guns mounted on Mount Defiance. With Major Ebenezer Stevens, he conducted experiments, firing cannon from Mount Independence and Fort Ticonderoga that proved it was within artillery range. Trumbull, accompanied by Benedict Arnold, Anthony Wayne, and others, climbed the mountain, finding it challenging but possible, and urged a fortification to be erected near the summit to cover the narrows of the lake. His report was not followed. Mount Defiance became a critical position as General John Burgoyne's British Army encircled Ticonderoga in July of 1777. With astonishing speed, the British surprised the Americans by cutting a road up Mount Defiance and hauling up two 12-pound cannon. The Continentals noticed the British activity, and it contributed to their decision to abandon Ticonderoga early in the morning of July 6, 1777, before the British cannon had even opened fire. General Burgoyne left one British and one Brunswick regiment to garrison the strategic prize, completed the battery on Mount Defiance, and began work on a more permanent blockhouse closer to the summit. Early in the morning of September 18th, an American raid led by Colonel John Brown struck the British positions at the Lake George landing. The raiders successfully captured the British post on Mount Defiance and turned the artillery on Fort Ticonderoga. During the ensuing bombardment, the only direct attack on Fort Ticonderoga itself, one Brunswick mutineer in the fort was killed. Despite controlling Mount Defiance, Brown's men were not prepared for a long siege and faced resistance from the remaining German and British garrison. Brown's men withdrew on September 22nd. Less than a month later, Burgoyne's army capitulated at Saratoga. With Burgoyne's surrender, the small garrison at Ticonderoga was dangerously exposed, and in early November of 1777 they burned the remaining structures and fell back to Canada. Mount Defiance was garrisoned by Hessian Jägers riflemen during the brief capture of Ticonderoga by General Barry St. Leger in late October of 1781, its last military role in the 18th century.